look at the starting lineups, the starting teams, beginning with Team Charli Mae. We're just going to read out the team that's going to be representing the team this afternoon. So it's Ryan Carroll, Jason O'Connor, David Corrigan, Gary Clegg, David Fawcett, Liam Henshaw, Mark Murray, Gary McCrudden, who will captain the side today, Brendan McCrudden, Andrew Rossiter, Dean Arrowsmith, Mark Arrowsmith, Paul Freeman, Darren Scott, Tony Owens, Donal Hanks, Mark Fannin, Darren Fannin, Paddy Smith, Stephen Dempsey, Port McGrory, Darren Smith, Conor Rooney, Gary Owen Fitzpatrick, Ashley White, Damien Rojas and Jason McHugh. The managers for Team Charli Mae this afternoon are Tom Mohan and Mick Neville. In relation to the Dundalk FC legends this afternoon, welcoming back some players of old and not so old. Chris Benyon is here this afternoon along with goalkeeper Gary Rogers. Captaining the side for the Dundalk FC legends is Stephen McCavitt. Brian Gartland, Dane Massey, Paul Whelan, John White, Port Dollaghy, Shane Grimes, Paul Crowley, Darren Meenan. We all dream of a team of Robbie Dunn, Stephen Maher, Matthew Tipton, Robbie Farrell, Mark Quigley, Taylor Mulvena, David Ward, John Curtis, Ross McCavitt and Daniel Shields. That Dundalk FC Legends team is managed by Darius Kearns and his assistant manager is Mark Rossiter.
Good afternoon everybody and welcome to this third annual Charli Mae Shield, the first of its kind to take place at Oriel Park. A reminder, all proceeds are in aid of Féileacáin, a charity which supports families dealing with the passing of a child. Today's Dundalk FC legends need no introduction, and we'll go through their team squad in a minute. And Team Charli Mae are composed of fathers, friends and fundraisers of Féileacáin. Those fathers who are playing for their sons and daughters are not just restricted to the playing field, as beside us is cameraman Chris, who is representing his daughter Abby. Also alongside me in the commentary box is Republic of Ireland skipper Andrew Gallagher. Wore the captain's armband for the transplant squad in Italy last autumn and took the team then down to Cove Ramblers a couple of months ago to line out in a charity match, also in aid of Féileacáin. So Gally, you've experienced today's kind of an event before. What do you think's in store for us this afternoon?
I use that word captaincy and going to a World Cup very loosely, but there's not many around here I suppose that made a carry home a medal, but the game itself, to say it's emotional is an understatement. I wasn't really expecting what I got in at St Coleman's Park that night. Like there's a pre-match, I don't know if it was done here today, but they give out the jerseys to the parents, and it's so poignant. And yes, there's a competitive edge to it, and you come together to kind of talk. You know, men are notorious for not talking, and this is an outlet for them through the football. But what to expect is something that's going to be highly charged. I suppose it's going to be emotional, given what the Féileacáin lads are playing for and in aid of. it probably doesn't help that some of these Dundalk legends haven't played in a couple of months or a couple of years, so there might be a couple of injuries early on, but from a spectacle itself, it's very unique, and it's great to be sitting here with yourself and Chris and having a look at this game and getting lads on the emotional level, I suppose, more than anything else, getting together, playing some football and having a bit of fun while they're at it.
Yeah, and look, I suppose we may as well start with the two squads. So in that Charli Mae squad, we've Ryan Carroll, Jason O'Connor, David Corrigan, Gary Clegg, David Fawcett, Liam Henshaw, Mark Murray, Gary McCrudden, Brendan McCrudden, Andrew Rossiter, Dean Arrowsmith, this is all because of Dean, and he's playing for his daughter Charlie. Mark Arrowsmith, Paul Freeman, Darren Scott, Tony Owens, who's playing in memory of Arthur, Donald Hanks, we know very well, who's playing for William. We've Keith Fannin, Darren Fannin, Paddy Smith, Porrick McGarry, who's playing for Dara, Darren Smith, Conor Rooney playing for Molly, Gary Owen Fitzpatrick, Ashley White, Damien Rojas, who has come the whole way over from Chicago, so a big shout out to our Chicago following this afternoon, this morning or this evening. It could be in Chicago, I'm not quite sure. Take your pick. Jason McHugh, and then Stephen Dempsey, who's playing for Rosie. You can see there the teams in front of you. Ryan Carroll starting, Jason O'Connor, David Corrigan, Gary Clegg, David Fawcett, Liam Henshaw, Mark Murray, skipper Gary McCrudden, Brendan McCrudden, Andrew Rossiter, and of course Pingu makes sure he gets his start in the starting lineup. On the bench, Mark Arrowsmith, Paul Freeman, Darren Scott, Tony Owens, Donald Hanks, Keith Fannin, Darren Fannin, Paddy Smith, Stephen Dempsey and Porrick McGarry. Now, some of you may be aware of some of those players, others who are not. To see a former Dundalk kit manager starting and a former Monaghan United under-21 and Cavan GEA player on the bench, it's not that we're shouting about favouritism, but you know what, it happens sometimes. For Dundalk legends, it's Benno. That starting lineup, we'll just go through the squad at the minute because it appears that there are two goalkeepers starting on that. So Chris beside us has not made a mistake. Dino Pingu could have made a, well, we'll go easy on Pingu for the start, it's a long afternoon. So Chris Benyon, Gary Rogers, Steph McKevitt again. Steph has got the captain's armband. We'll not ask questions as to how that has happened. We have Brian Gartland, Dane Massey, Paul Whelan, John White, Porrick Goligly, Shane Grimes, Paul Crowley, Darren Meenan, Robbie Dunn. In fact, not a team of Robbie Dunns, just a single Robbie Dunn this afternoon. Stephen Maher, Ronan Murray, Robbie Farrell, Mark Quigley, Tiernan Mulvenna, David Ward, John Curtis, Ross McKevitt and Dan Shields. And as we get down towards the bottom of the list, the word legend maybe starts to lose the esteem in which it's been held towards the start. But look, we're looking down here, we're seeing Gary Rogers. Rogers is older than me, and there's a reason I'm sitting up here and he's down there showing his athletic prowess. Gally, some of the legends, some of them are looking in fine shape.
Some of them, yeah, some of them would pass. They definitely get a game with the Bells in the Loud Girls League. But yeah, I'm looking at John White. I'm looking at Ronan Murray, obviously keeping him with strength and conditioning. He's obviously keeping himself right. He's a perfect example of how to be strength and conditioned himself. But yeah, there's one or two now. I'd like to see the jerseys. I'd like to see some of the jerseys, maybe what playoff in the producing them. But there could be a boys getting a wee bit too close to the skin here. But yeah, look, I mean, these kind of legends, these type of players, you know, they probably only need half a yard. They probably won't do much running when they can ping a ball around Oriel Park like they used to. I don't think it'll have much of a problem. We've obviously seen Jonto there as well. I'm not sure how he got into the lineup, but he's there. We've the assist king and Darren Meenan as well. Some boys that, you know, you would have loved to share a dressing room when you were playing. You would have got your right arm, but some fantastic. Like David Ward even. I had the unfortunate, I think you might have played, Chris, as well, had the unfortunate occasion of playing a game with 11v11 down in Glenview, David Ward one night, and to say he put us to shame, himself and late Tommy McConville, is putting it mildly. But these lads can play, there's no doubt about it. Yeah,
I remember when I moved over from my original county over to my adopted county, I went down training with Rock Celtic for a while, and to say that squad was stacked, I thought I was handy-ish. No, I'm not. You had the likes of Derek Delaney, you had John Sharkey, you had Wardy, you had Big David McGaw, or McGeough was playing there, you had that's off the top of my head, there's more.
Might have played as well.
He could have been there at that stage.
Yeah, they're looking sharp, any if nothing else, Tom. They're definitely looking sharp. Now, you looked at our left, and it's just an absolute carnage central down on the left with the boys from Cavan. But look, you know, we can't, first looks, we can't be too too put off by it, but they're moving the ball about. These lads haven't touched the ball on the right. I don't know what's worse.
Well,
but look, we'll see how we go.
I'm going to go easy because an awful lot of Cavan men over there, and as a Monaghan man I don't want to be accused of any sort of bias. Certainly not before the game has started. During the game without doubt, but after the game or before the game has started, that's probably a bit harsh. But like you say, look, what it seems to be is an awful lot of there's a huge crowd, to be fair to Dean. I mean, it's an incredible achievement to get so many players out. It's a rotten afternoon here, so if you haven't joined us or aren't thinking of joining us, please do look at the Team Charli Mae socials or the Dundalk FC socials or indeed Féileacáin socials. Drop in a donation. Everything is going towards a very, very worthy charity, so please do whatever you can. I see Tom Moen is standing on the edge of the Team Charli box having a word with Pingu, so look, it's obviously going to be, it's going to be very intricate tactics based on the way they're lining up as well. Tom, he hasn't just got the clipboard out yet, but I think the way things are going to be, hoping he doesn't have his boots with him, he could end up lining up with him at some point.
In fairness to Tom, he's probably trying to learn all this. Chris said he's probably to learn everybody's names or nicknames just to make sure he's the right lineup. But I've said the thing's probably been picked by Pingu. I don't know if anybody's going to be around with him later on for starting too early or too late, depending on how your fitness is. But yeah, look, I'm just looking at the Dundalk boys. Even look at someone like Tiernan Mulvanna. Tiernan Mulvanna looks like he can still play. Like at this level, there's some boys warming up here that's I'd be tired looking at them.
Tiernan, to be fair, was down. Myself and Chris were down at Drogheda in the teeming rain last night. And I think Tiernan, as the rest of the Drogheda United management, and indeed Shells, to be fair as well, they were all out wandering in the rain last night. Myself and Chris were huddled up on opposite sides of the ground and kept well out of the rain. But Tiernan looks like you say, he doesn't look like he's showing any ill effects from last night. You look at even Dane Massey. Massey's not even wearing a warm-up top. That's how hardy he is. Like it's oh, I see. And speaking of warm-up tops, the one and only Captain Fantastic, Captain Positivity himself, wearing a Town End podcast top. So look, that's the kind of advertising you need on days like today, leading his team out from the front. Now whether he's just cold and he wants to get into the changing rooms earlier, I don't know, but he's going first towards the dressing room. I'll let him say it later on. It's his fault. I have extra preparation at half-time. Those of you who are going to bear with us during the half-time break, we have a half-time quiz which was hastily put together thanks to a very unfortunate or fortunate suggestion from Steph on his pod with Gally earlier on. So we're coming up, approaching kickoff. It's about 3 minutes to 1 o'clock here at Oriel Park in this charity game, which, as I mentioned again, look, if you have a couple of minutes, and go and check out the socials beforehand, go and check out Féileacáin. We're all here for a reason, whether it's we're all remembering somebody or whether it's here for our buddies. Like Gally said, look, it's important, for men to chat about this kind of crack, and no better gathering than football for us to just kind of come together and be there for each other. So look, it's a massively important charity. Every one of us has been touched one way or another, so please do if you get a minute. And if you're not at the game or you're thinking of coming down later on, I know the raffles and all sorts of bits and pieces are taking part after the game, so if you're not going to brave the weather, at least pop down to the Lilywhite lounge later on and enjoy the crack, enjoy the festivities, because it does make a difference to everybody. Now looking on the pitch, we see that both sides have wandered off to the safety of the dressing rooms. We see that our PA Kieran is in place with his pre-match tunes. He's been banging out the tunes to the crowd so far. And we've had a penalty competition over to our right hand side, where stars of the future are lining up to practice. Hopefully one day we'll see them on the Oriel Park turf. So far we're looking for 5,000 is the target. We have hit 3,500 so far. It would be incredible if we could reach that by the end of this afternoon's event. So thank you so much everybody who has donated so far. If you could even spread the word, whether it's about the game this afternoon, whether it's on the socials, retweet, forward, share, like, post, whatever else you're going to do, and all funds raised here will go directly to Féileacáin. You can also share the link as well to as many people. 30,000 euros has been raised so far by Dean since their lives were turned upside down in December 2020 when Charli Mae passed away. Since then, since 4.5 years since then, 30,000 has been raised by Dean in memory of Charli and anybody who has lost children at such a young age. So again, look, we were asking 5,000 is the target for today. We're 3,500 so far there. Thank you so much for everybody who has given their money. Thank you for all who have lined up today. As I mentioned, a number of fathers representing their children today. We have Chris beside us representing Abby. We have on the team Charli Mae, we have Dean representing Charlie, Tony Owens representing Arthur, Donal Hanks representing William, Pádraig McGarry representing Dara, Molly been represented by Conor Rooney, and of course Rosie been represented by Stephen Dempsey. We're looking here at the teams are in the tunnel. Clever enough, they're not going to come out till the last minute. We can see wearing number 9.
That's a shock.
It's left back or right back or centre forward. Steph McKevitt is in the tunnel.
We had this quick conversation at the end of the podcast last night. If himself and John White were going to play right back, but I think John's daughter Ciara's in the senior setup now for Shamrock Rovers. So he may have to leave a little bit early. So I assume Steph was going to play middle of the park, where he tears it up for Glenmuir over the years. But at number 9 on his back is, I don't know if it's just random grab a jersey, whatever fits you out of the bag. But we'll find it in the next 5 minutes.
Well, bear in mind, Christopher beside us will be able to tell us that one goalkeeper has actually worn a number 9. The famous or infamous Jens Lehmann once wore number 9 for Germany. So look, that's going to be, I don't know if it's going to be a long afternoon. You may hope the football's going to be good, because otherwise there's going to be a few of them thrown out.
Nice wee crowd as well forming in the stand.
Yeah,
it is like you said, it's a dirty murky day, but the rain has stayed away so far. So the only thing is the pitch needs a bit of water, I suppose. When we look down here we can see it's almost charcoal, but look, they'll have to make do with it.
And there's no choice, we're not going to change it now. We'll change it when we go up to the Premier Division. Change it next November, December, let the grass actually grow. I see there as well, Dean is wearing number 22. So you're going to have to bear with us for the first couple of moments. There have been a few we're discussing in the commentary box here beforehand when we're discussing the formations and the tactics, and whether we'll see a catenaccio or a square or a box midfield. We're not just quite sure yet, but we had a number of late withdrawals, so the numbers have just changed a little bit from the absent ones we were provided with. So it just takes a couple of minutes just to figure out exactly which number is which. So if you are watching, please do bear with us. Bear with us anyway. It's going to be a long afternoon with us. Numbers or no numbers, it's just making up excuses from the start. It looks like referee Colin Halligan.
Colin Halligan,
yeah. No, he's decided he's had enough as well. He's heading back towards it. No. So with the delayed kickoff, probably due to the numbers starting to arrive into the stands with the heavy traffic possibly.
Coming off the train.
That's exactly what it is. Well, we've had people fly in from Chicago for today's game, so just want to make sure everyone gets in. I see crowds are still starting to come in down over to our left-hand side.
I drove in from Hagerstown, so it's a spin. There we go.
Nice, so the teams approach the field.
Kits are looking very sharp as well.
Oh, they're class.
They've absolutely done themselves here. These kits are absolutely fantastic. Great spectacle for everybody. I always liked the Dundalk jersey in an all white, and here's the advertisement for it, boys. Back to the Premier Division, all white kit.
So anyone from PlayerFit who is listening, please do start making notes. And as we make notes, Gary Rogers wearing the unusual 25 for him. John White 16. Is that David Ward wearing 2?
It is, and it's Pádraig Gallagher at 15. Tiernan Mulvanna at 34 at his age.
Where's Tiernan? Is he not 10?
No, 34 here. I'm thinking the right.
Oh, I see. Sorry, who have I marked down as 10?
Robbie Dunn 4, is it?
Could be. I'm trusting you an awful lot here.
Robbie Dunn is in serious shape. The man can still play. Now,
We'll see in a while.
It's just going to be, I don't know what numbers they have. It's a lot of numbers and bingo balls on the Charlie team, but look.
We know Pingu is wearing number 22. Beyond that, if anybody is watching...
Massey and the famous 3 as well, sorry Tom.
No, you're all right. If anybody else is watching and can provide us with updates on those numbers, it would be greatly appreciated. We have profiles for Team Charli Mae, but unfortunately a late change of jersey numbers means that up here
John White going straight into right back, it looks.
Yeah. John White wearing 16, you're right.
Just waiting on Darren Mean and turn around. I don't think we got Darren yet. And Ronan Murray. Ronan Murray is 7, it looks like.
Now we're going to have a moment's silence before the game.
We've got 2 Turn Endo podcasts are starting for the Charli Mae team. Donald Hanks gets a start. I don't know if you wanted that or not.
Right, actually, 2 here. No, sorry, Wardy's 2.
Yeah. Donald Hanks is 24. We've Mark.
Sorry, I'm looking on the wrong side, yeah.
Yeah, Mark Arrowsmith is 8.
Right.
Mark's face.
Where's Wardy's 2? There we go.
Daniel Shields, goalkeeper for Charlie as well, if he's not on the list.
Who has switched sides? Who was was originally a legend.
We can't all be legends.
No, I was going to say, yeah, tough bit demoted from middle legend, but look, would have been nice to get there in the first place. And we're switching sides here. Steph obviously won the coin toss, wants to play with the wind in the first half.
Of course he does.
Wind and the rain, to be fair, he's going to get like.
I don't know if my eyesight's deceived me. Number 8 for Dundalk in midfield.
Ronan Murray? No. Oh, number 8, sorry.
Is it Paul Whelan?
Wheeler's got old, if that's Wheeler.
Paul Whelan, Chris, double check that, zoom in, and we're off. Donald Hanks to kick us off.
Crowley, could be Crowley, yeah.
It is. My mistake, it is.
Ball is over in the centre half spot. Number 14 knocks it on as far as Dame Massey. Massey lets it go long as far as Gary Rogers. Rogers wandering about, decides to go inside to Robbie Dunn. Robbie Dunn strides forward with the ball, gives it to Tiernan Mulvanna. Mulvanna. That's actually Darren Meenan wearing number 10.
The beard.
Looks to pick out Steph McKelvey. John White's behind him. John White looks to take that throw in down this right hand side. Steph gives it back to John. John throws it in as far as Meenan. Meenan back to White. trying to pick out Tiernan Mulvaney, but cleared away. That is Donal Hanks with the first touch of the ball, and Hanksy drives it long. Robbie Dunn throws it back as far as Gary Rogers. Rogers gives it back to Robbie Dunn. And it's at the feet of Ronan Murray. Murray spreads it across Pádraig Gallagher. Over to Dane Massey. Massey currently assistant coach at Bray Wanderers, so was busy last night. Back as far as Paul Crowley. Crowley switches it over as far as John White. John White strides in, gives it back. And it's I was going to say it's a pedestrian start, but I'm not going to expect a whole mile more, to be fair.
It's quicker than Knightley.
Yeah, it's easy to say it's pedestrian when we're up here.
I noticed Donal Hanks down in the middle of the field for Charlie. He was complaining about 2 minutes before he came up for the warm, but he hurt his knee walking around the house the other day. And he's been at the physio, so I'm surprised to see him play middle of the park.
Well, we'll see how long that lasts here. A minute and a half into the game, and we have what resembles a sprint yet to be seen. John White with a clever touch inside. Darren Meenan. Meenan looks up, gives it long, aim it for Tiernan Mulvaney. Tiernan nods it back as far as Ronan Murray. Murray as far as Wardy. Wardy has Dane Massey running outside him. Gives it out to Massey. Massey with a first touch as far as Ronan Ward. Ward pulls it across. Tiernan. Good save by the keeper. Dan Shields shows why he could have been a legend. Saves well.
Stop.
And Charli Mae escaped down this left hand side with the evergreen number 23. This time it's Steph Pillane in an unfamiliar attacking midfield role. Gives it as far as Darren Meenan. Still got the whip of the ball, and you never lose it. As far as Wardy. Wardy to Tiernan Mulvaney. Mulvaney with a clever touch. Hits it, deflected. And once again cleared by Donal Hanks, who's a rock in that Charli Mae defence so far. Defensive midfield, I think we'll call it. Dean Arrowsmith with a touch inside. Dean playing in midfield. Dean, who has organised today's event for the team Charli Mae and for Féileacáin. Left in. Oh, deflected wide. Steph McKevick left, his fellow podcaster for dust there as he whipped in across. Deflected wide by Team Charli Mae, and it's a corner over on that far side to be taken by David Ward. Already rolling back the years there, 25 years since he won promotion with Dundalk. Gives it as far as Paul Dunn. Dunn steps out of the penalty area, whips in across onto just straight into the hands of Daniel Shields.
There's a slight resemblance of Donal Hanks to Chris Shields there back in the day. A marauder in midfield though.
Struck down, great ball out by Dan Shields, trying to pick out Mark Arrowsmith, but it skips beyond the Cahill man, and it's back at the feet of Paul Dunn in midfield, or Paul Crowley in midfield. Team Charli Mae break it down again and win a throw-in off Dane Massey over in front of the Team Charli Mae dugout, which has been assigned the away dugout, while seen as some of them are from Cavan and Chicago, can't be at home at Oriel Park. Paul Dunn and Darren Meenan combined, but only cleared as far as number 21. Skips it in, looking for Donal Hanks coming through, but Massey's experience.
He'll be disgusted over that. Never stop talking about it. It's like take over from the jersey he didn't win on the podcast a couple of years ago.
Everything there from. Oh look, well, you know, to be fair, there could be a magazine article written on it. Not the Harps game. Harps game's already done. Pádraig Gallagher looks to pick out John White, but that ball hasn't got enough on it, and it's McCrudden, Gary McCrudden, who picks it up, but John White gets it back off him, and McCrudden is left chasing John White's shadow again. Clever touch from Darren Meenan, not read by Ronan Murray, and it's back. This time McCrudden gets to it again, looking to put the ball into the penalty area. Tries to catch out Gary Rogers at his near post, but it just skips up off the turf, and the experienced Meath man finds no problem, bowls it out quickly, and it's Dundalk legends through Paul Crowley, who give it to Tiernan. Mulvaney gets it back again off Massey. Picks out David Ward in his more familiar. Some players are playing in an unfamiliar role. David Ward, as we know, has played on the left wing for Dundalk as well as up front, and he drifts over to that left wing now, where he's now in a defensive role as Charli Mae attack in midfield. Gary McCrudden spreads it over to the left hand side. Overlapping fullback with a great run, faced up by John White. John uses his experience, shows him down the line. Number 21 puts it in across, but it's blocked out by Robbie Dunn. Robbie Dunn feeds Ronan Murray. Murray to Meenan. Meenan to Mulvanna. Looking for another M. Murray's available. Has Wardy running through left-hand side. Wardy's in acres of space. Over wide on that far side. Tiernan's making a run towards the 6-yard box. Well headed clear by the defender. And Dane Massey picks up the loose ball. Massey shows some football and futsal skills to skip inside. Goes for a shot. Skips just wide of where he was intending of that far post. Just drifts to the near post. And Daniel Shields picks it up. At this point, because it's so quiet, you have to be afraid the players can be hearing some of the things that are being said, so we have to be nice and kind at the start. Daniel Shields just rolls the ball out of his penalty area and he's going to go long, looking for Gary McCrudden's making that run. Instead he goes on that right wing where ball is headed clear by Paul Crowley. We've a slip by Charli Mae's number 8. Dundalk FC team managed today by Darius Kearns with Mark Rossiter as his assistant manager. Team Charli Mae have been managed by Tom Mohan and Mick Neville, the duo who are also in charge of Republic of Ireland under-19s. Players today probably have a slightly more mature variety rather than the under-19s. They'd be used to Tom Mohan and Mick Neville deep in conversation at the moment. Darius looking a bit more relaxed in that home dugout where he did obviously spend a period of time back many moons ago. Ball's launched clear, headed on by Pádraig Gallagher, but the wrong direction, and Paul Dunn nods it back as far as Gary Rogers, who bowls quickly to the feet of Ronan Murray. Murray turns around looking for Steph McKevitt. McKevitt gives it back to Murray. Murray goes long looking for the run of Paul Crowley, but it's good defending, and Dan Shields comes out, takes that, bowls it to his number 14 defensive midfield position. Pass it over to the left hand side. Neat feet. Sends Darren Meenan and Team Charli Mae attack down this left hand side. Dean Arrowsmith looking to pick out McCrudden, gets there thanks to a deflection of John White, and it's Dundalk who look to build. Robbie Dunn to Mulvanna. Mulvanna to McKevitt. McKevitt plays through Ward. Dan Shields not sure. Stands up well, makes a good save. This time it's back. Defeat a lovely 1-2 with Mulvanna. Ward looking to pick out Murray, but it breaks down and it's Massey again. Massey plays in Ronan Murray. Murray with a clever ball inside, looking to pick out Mulvanna. Mulvanna turns it out as far as Ward. Ward with his right foot this time, straight down the throat of Dan Shields. 8.5 minutes gone here at Oriel Park. As you can see, 0-0. Oh, Steph.
That's absolute done on purpose there. There's no doubt in my mind he's meant to do that.
There's a podcast episode on that. Dan Shields coming in as a special guest. On his left foot this time. This time he misses.
Great touch.
Plays well, Pingu, yeah.
Okay.
Morney inside as far as Wardy, looking for the run at Tiernan Mulvanna. Mulvanna should open the score here. Ward, Dan Shields again.
Dan Shields having the game of his life.
He has to come back into this.
9 minutes in.
No, beginning to see now why the legend status was bestowed upon him. Darren Meenan puts it across. Tiernan again. This is a one-on-one contest. This is.
It really is.
How long can he hold out? He's 10% of the game done with a clean sheet.
Dundalk legend definitely turning up the heat, but Dan's keeping them right between himself and the Chris Shields looking like in midfield. They just pick out Pingu more often. They just want to give him the ball. He's making great runs, but nobody's seeing him.
Clever touch inside, and Charli Mae have a semblance of an attack, but it just runs out of play. Mark Arrowsmith looking to chase down that ball, but Pádraig Gallagher showing his experience. And Gary Rogers gets us going again. Ronan Murray not too flustered with the on-rushing press. And it's Paul Dunn again in midfield. Clever touch by Ward. Picks out Steph McKevitt. Massey looking for somebody inside. Paul Dunn, who has ventured forward from his centre half position. Gets it, McKevitt gets it back off Meenan to Massey. Tiernan's on his own in the box, but to no avail, and it's Pingu all on his own. Decides to come.
He's delayed the whole game there. He could have just took a wee run down the left, and he didn't fancy it at all. For all the running he does in Chicago.
Ball ends up at Mulvanna. Mulvanna against Shields. Keeper stands him up and forces Tiernan to go wide there.
Have to blame Pingu for that one.
Yeah, well, I think it's fair to say he's not an overlapping left back at the minute. Laps, like you say, the man is an avid runner, but overlapping just not yet. But early in the game, he's pacing himself.
You hope.
Well, now he's going to wing back position.
Yeah, he's in here as a...
That's it, give us a wave, Pingu. No.
A bit of it. He's a young Ian Howard.
Gets it again. Oh. Dan Shields looks to pick out Dean, but it just skips beyond him. I think that's Dean acknowledging that we have picked him out as one of our players to watch on the Charli Mae team.
Gary Rogers looks like he hasn't retired a day. Obviously keeps himself right. Dane Massey the same.
Massey is still playing in
that's right.
in Dublin.
That's right.
Gary's last official game was that game against Arsenal many moons ago. Tiernan gives it back, gets it off Darren Meenan, wins it again. A couple of breaks go his way. John White overlaps, but it just doesn't go as far. Well shadowed by Pingu. Pingu gets it, touches inside, but Ronan Murray's clever, clips it off Pingu. This time it's Darren Meenan whips it across. Very casual back pass as far as Dan Shields. Kind of knows the form Dan Shields is in, knows that he's going to scissor kick it away anyway, no problem. Picks forward, Gary McCrudden with a lovely touch. Oh, unlucky. As Dane Massey steps inside. Paul Crowley to Massey. To Wardy, back to Massey again. This time Ronan Murray wants a bit of the action. Lines it up. He's going to have a strike. Bobbles. I think there's a... Ronan Murray is going to probably blame the pitch for that one.
Similar to First Division Dundalk last night. All the ball, but nothing happened.
Yeah, speaking of all the ball, no ball now. Tom Moan and Mick Neville waving no more now. What do they mean, no more shooting? Yeah. There's a lovely mural for anyone who has been at Oriel Park. There's a lovely mural like the front saying "Legends never die." For Dan, it's "Legends never depart the pitch to receive the ball, retrieve the ball." That's the way we're looking. Goes long, looking to pick out Pingu's overlap and run, but doesn't happen. Cleared only as far as Paul Crowley. Crowley steps up again, looks to pick out Wardy. Wardy gives it as far as Ronan Murray. Murray with a really clever ball in, but Charli Mae escaped down this left hand side. They're looking for a runner, but it's the running machine of Darren Meenan, the assist king at one point here, breaks up the attack. And it's Charli Mae who defend the goal over to our right hand side. Well marshalled so far by Dan Shields, who goes long looking for Dean Arsmith, but the experienced head of John White nods it as far as his former teammate David Ward, current teammate obviously, but his former promotion winning teammate. Wardy with a clever touch inside to Tiernan. Tiernan to Massey. Massey skips past the defender, looks to give it as far as Tiernan. Tiernan back to Wardy. Oh. That's lovely football. Tiernan on his left, looks to pick out Crowley. Well defended. Superb save again, Dan Shields. Dan Shields. If I could do a Scottish accent, I would say take a bow, son, but I can't, so I won't, even though I just did.
Steph McCavitt saw his name in lights now. First goal of the match. Thou shall not pass with Dan Shields at the minute.
Ah, superb. See, at Lungtown didn't have Matt Connor in goals last night. Lee Axworthy, who had been playing for Kerry before, made his first start, so maybe if they're looking for a reserve keeper or for Dan Shields putting in a cameo here. Darren Meenan, former Athlone player as well, I think at one point. Longford. 2. So we could spend the 90 minutes talking about Darren Meenan's different clubs, but not yet. Maybe we could see how half time goes, go from there. Lovely touch. Ah, that's some lovely football. Team Charli Mae in midfield. Oh, play on.
Well, let them go.
Linesman, waves play on. With a Team Charli Mae player down. Gary McCrudden down in midfield, but his teammates play on around him. Looks like he got a wee bang to the eye possibly, but Charli Mae attack down that right hand side. Ball's in the hands of Gary Rogers, and referee Colin Halligan blows his whistle for the first time.
In fairness to Charlie, they might as well keep the game going. If the player injured down, they're not going to get the ball too often with looks in the first half. Just keep them quiet and keep the ball going.
Suggestions of running down the clock here by Gally, only 15 minutes into the game. Take a 0-all. Dan Shields will be delighted with a 0-all at this point. Similar sort of tempo, Gally, whenever you were down in Cove.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, this looks quicker. This definitely looks a little bit quicker. But yeah, we tend to go out really fast in the first 5 minutes and then we're spent. That's kind of, so 10 minutes in, we're all looking off.
But again, look, today is all about, it's all about having the fun. It's all about having myself and Gally and Chris having chats here. It's all about support for each other. And as we mentioned earlier on, this game is in aid of Féileacáin, so please do share, like, post, make those links fly. And if we can, it would be amazing. We had 3,500 ahead of kick-off. If we could reach 5 by the end of the game, that would be an incredible achievement. Like we mentioned earlier on, Team Charli Mae have raised €30,000 so far in their 4.5 years. This would go a long way towards it as well, towards supporting families who have been bereaved by the loss of a young child, and it really, really will help them. So please do what you can. Thank you. Team Charli Mae attacking down this left hand side. Gary Rogers comes out for a venture, decides against dribbling down, brings the ball into his penalty area and just gives it to Porrick Goligly to start an attack. Gives it to Dane Massey. Massey to Wardy on the halfway line. Mark Arrowsmith comes in, takes it off from Team Charli Mae. Look to attack down there, right hand side. Blocked. And it's then down this right hand side. I'm looking for Pingu, was in left wing, and
yeah, they must have,
seems to have disappeared.
He just had enough.
So a lot of their efforts concentrated on this right hand side. Ball comes across to McCrudden. John White stepped across using the experience. Good defending from John White, and it looks like it's a goal kick. Probably unfortunate, Team Charli Mae, not to get a little bit more from that. That's the first meaningful attack. Good experience defended from John White just to outmuscle skipper McCrudden, and Gary Rogers gets us away quickly. Darren Meenan says we're not rushing, knocks it back as far as John White. We'd slow it again. This is, I think, what you call patient build-up is what it's called now. Whether it's by choice or by necessity, we will not say yet, but ball is over on that left-hand side with Dane Massey to Steph McKevitt. If anybody hasn't listened yet, it's a good recap on last night's treaty game with Gally and Steph, so you get a listen to that on the town end after today's encounters. Darren Meenan skips inside and releases John White down this right hand side. John White gives it back inside, but they're not there. Nobody is there. And it's Team Charli Mae attack from the central position. Massey comes across from his left wing position to cover, and the ball just nips out of play. They missed Pingu there.
That's
Pingu,
it. The one time the ball comes down the side. Anytime Charlie do get the ball, they're just a little bit slow to move with it, but they just get the passing right. I know it's obviously difficult looking up. Every time you look up, there's a Dundalk legend in white jersey coming towards you.
And that's Charli Mae. A couple of substitutions here. It looks like Pingu's gone, and 2 other substitutions. Skipper McCrudden walks off, carried that injury earlier on, so we do hope he'll be okay to join us again later on in the game. That's Keith Fannin down, wearing the number 10 jersey. Keith Fannin, who former teammate of mine actually.
There's not many you don't know, Tom.
Keith, myself and Paul Whelan, who is named in the squad but didn't make it. We all played for Monaghan United under 21s. Well, I was there, they played, and that's the way that went many moons ago. Remember, Keith had a rocket of a left foot. Obviously saw that playing for Cavan GA as well, and you can see it. Look, superb player. Remember scoring over, like I say, that left foot was in action at Gordy Keegan when everything was black and white back then. But we're bringing in colour TV today, and it's Dundalk who search for that opener. They've a goalkeeper in the form of Dan Shields, who's been in imperious form so far in the opening 20 minutes. He'll do well to last the 90, as will many of the players out there. But this time it's Charli Mae who defend again. Only as far as Darren Meenan. Meenan coming back, gives a clip ball inside to Steph McKevitt. McKevitt broken down by Keith Fannin. Fannin muscled off the ball by another left foot and Shea Dane Massey. Massey's had enough of watching and decides to join the attack where it's cleared into the right back area for Team Charli Mae.
Danes has clearly decided the strikers aren't doing their job, so let's just take it on themselves.
To be fair, in his day at Dundalk, he did score a few crackers. So
an absolute belter, yeah.
Another man with a powerful left foot, mentioning Keith Fannin's like Massey, and now Massey's gone because there's a gap. Team Charli Mae have exploited that gap in the left back area.
They're in.
And they're through. Number 5. Good save by Gary Rogers down low to his right hand side. First effort on target and a good save by the Meath man. Bowls it out to John White. Again, that's what happens. Overlapping. Maybe Pingo with the right idea, staying at home at left back. Overlapping left backs are great, but you need to go home. Dame Massey will have to have a word. Post-match interviews will have to have a word and say, look, none of your flashy stuff.
Pingo's overlapping. He just peaked too early and then had to take him off. Just never got a run of it.
No, but he'll be back on. An injury, just got a wee elbow into the face, looked like purely accidental. Number 23, he'd be up. I think he just ran into an elbow rather than any malicious intent.
There is every chance they want to break. it could be just a flailing at home from Ronan Murray, maybe.
Not to make assumptions about any other club, but there are 2 clubs, both beginning with D in the league, where goalkeepers have mysterious injuries, which was also suffered by Nathan Shepherd. Used to suffer from the same injury here at times at certain periods of the game. We actually saw it last night for a minute. Luke Dennison kind of towards the end went down as well. Not to name the club, but this particular goalkeeper happened to go down injured and miraculously returned to his feet a number of moments later. And a certain other team, like I mentioned, were playing in the West, and I've no doubt that at some point when they were ahead, the goalkeeper may have had an injury, and thank goodness he returned to finish off the 90. And now Colin Halligan's returning the ball to Dundalk FC legends, and we can get the game back underway again. Dane Massey's decided that he's just going to park ship on the halfway line. He's not going to come back. Paul Dunn gets a second chance.
Couple of subs for Charli Mae as well. Mark Murray comes on.
Where in the
Coot Hill legend, round number 3.
Yeah.
Self-appointed sexiest man 2012, Calvin.
Former proprietor of Smith's Bar, I do believe.
That's right.
Thinks it by Ronan Murray. Dan Shields loses.
Another touch from Dan Shields. He's having an absolute stormer. Took it off the head of Dundalk FC legends captain Steph.
And I think I was going to be unfair there saying lose the flight, but I think he did. He did well to take it off Steph's head. This time Paul Crowley puts it across. Shields has all under control. I think Chris Shields was held in high regard for those who are watching today. Dan Shields should be approaching similar legendary status after 24 minutes. Having said that, Chris Shields' first 24 minutes of his Dundalk career didn't exactly have the legend written all over it, but look, after a couple of years he settled into his role and did well. Handball. Harsh one given against Mark Arrowsmith.
That's harsh.
Oh, and rolling ball as well. I think there's definite favouritism from the home referee here, Colin Halligan, but Team Charli Mae get the break of it.
17 taking it on to himself.
Does well. Just shuffled out of play by Balmullets. Ronan Murray. I think shuffled might be a word he could be using later on in the day as well. Murray, who has retired from a professional career due to injury, showing no sign of it so far. Lovely little flick inside. Darren Meenan to John White. White with a simple ball inside to Ronan Murray. Murray gets Dundalk legends going again. Tiernan Mulvena. This time Dane Massey has been told to sit back possibly. Gives it. Oh, clever little backheel there to release Dane Massey. And again we're just a bit pedestrian. Crowley clips it into John White. John White playing
is just
total football here.
Absolutely. Just Pep Guardiola fullback, interbetter fullbacks and everything. That's himself and Dane looking for goals. It's just not happening. Tiernan Mulvena and David Ward today.
Oh. Ball's whipped in as far as number 6 for Dundalk. Who's come on? It's a substitute, and I haven't got their name down. Looks like Andy Boyle in appearance, but it's not Andy Boyle. Lifted in by Dane Massey, cleared again by Team Charli Mae. Ball's cleared in, this time Massey again over to Tiernan Mulvaney. Or sorry, Darren Meenan. Meenan with a clever pass, number 6.
Just ran out of the pitch.
Just ran out. A newcomer to the Dundalk Legends. Ball started again, play started again with the Team Charli Mae building down their right hand side. We see now Donal Hanks has departed the action as well. So there could be, unbeknownst to us, there could be live podcasting going on in the Team Charli Mae dugout. Maybe they're prepping Pingu and Hanks preparing for next week's episode. Keith Fannin picks up the ball midfield, swivels on his left foot, gives it, looking to start that attack, gets it back again. Keith Fannin again central in possession. Looks to play back inside again as Team Charli Mae build. Free on that right hand side, but poor Goligly uses experience to step across. Paul Crowley to Goligly. Goligly goes long as far as Tiernan Mulvaney. Mulvaney in a welcome to the party. And Dundalk escaped down this left hand side. Another clever little touch by Ronan Murray, gets it back off Wardy to Murray again. Murray strides forward, picks out Wardy again. Over to this right hand side. Tiernan Mulvaney has found acres of space, definitely offside according to the Charli Mae defence. And Colin Halligan, assistant, hasn't raised his flag yet, but look, we'll watch it on VAR later on, no doubt, and see it. Step forward by Dunn. Robbie Dunn gives it inside. Travella pass attempted, gets it to Ward. Ward back to Mulvaney, to Dundalk natives linking up for the Legends as they look to break the deadlock here on 28 minutes. Mulvaney dinks on his right foot, this time it's headed clear. Number 6 has a shot. Wardy gets his head to it, fizzed across the 6-yard box, and the Dundalk FC number 6 comes on, a newcomer. We're looking at our team sheets here to see who was on our original. It's not Benno, it's not Brian Gartland. Wheelo, Grimesy, Stephen Maher, Robbie Farrell, Mark Quigley, John Curtis and Ross McKevin are yet to be seen, so it could be one of those, or it could be a ringer. Possible. Lovely back heel from Meenan to Murray, to Meenan again. And his attempted cross, it's going to roll out of play in the AstroTurf, well defended by Team Charli Mae. It's Daniel Shields, whose goal has led a charmed life so far, but it's still 0-0 again in this fundraiser for the Team Charli Mae Shield, which has been won on both occasions, if I'm right, by Team Charli Mae.
Correct.
But they'll be doing well based on the evidence of the opening half hour. They'll be doing well to hold out this Dundalk FC attack for the entirety of the game. Having said that, Dan Shields is in great form and plays a part in Team Charli Mae escaping down this left hand side again. We see where the gap exists in the absence of Pingu, but irrespective of that, Team Charli Mae attack down this left hand side. Number 5 looks to pick out. Number 12 was offside, unfortunately. Damien Rojas potentially down as number 11 for Team Charli Mae. Damien works with the aforementioned Pingu in Chicago Fire's football in the community, so it's good to see him come the whole way here. Some of us have travelled a whole 5 miles to be here, whereas it's nice to see Damien making a real effort to have travelled across the Atlantic Ocean to join us. And indeed, thank you to everybody who has joined us here this afternoon. If you can, please like, share, post, donate. Those of you who haven't, this game is in aid of Féileacáin, which helps support families who have suffered the loss of a young child. Ball down this left-hand side to David Ward. Ward adjudged to be offside. Gally, you don't think so?
Not having that, Colin Halligan. I'm not having that one.
We could see it back.
Just on.
We watch it back on the replay here. If we'll have to just take a moment now as Team Charli Mae reset. We get a chance to look at this. Oh, it's tight.
Like four plays them on.
I'm Aaron on the defence. Gally said no. We'll have to come back. Our half-time talk. We'll get the big screens out and we'll get the pens out to mark the length. Lovely touch inside by Keith Fannin. 2 lovely touch. A handball. Fannin wins it. Free kick. We hope you can't hear such language from the stands.
It is a charity match, but they're absolutely getting stuck. There's no mess in here. There's not an inch been given.
No. You can see the experience. Fannon's looking at this on his left. It's still going to break to the Cavan man. Bang.
John White with the ball.
John White will feel that in the morning. I told you Keith Fannin had a left foot to be wary of. I think John's just acknowledging that. I think that Chris mentioned earlier on that John might have to head off early in the second half to go and watch his daughter Ciara playing for Shamrock Rovers. I think he'd be proud of her if she put in such defending like that. Keith Fannon's gone down in the box. The Dundalk FC legends are claiming he fell over. Fannin has made a difference. You can see the difference whenever. Like
Fanning and number 5 and number 17 seem to be going forward. Definitely, there's a shout for handball there off Dane Massey instead of the corner. It'll be interesting to see the replay back. I think he just kind of matrixes the ball out of play.
Yeah, creative defending. I think we got that. Contortionist defending. I think he did. Yeah, he nearly did well not to handle it to get himself out of the road. Like
exactly.
Gary Rogers gives it to the aforementioned Massey. Massey actually played international futsal with his brother Lloyd earlier on in his career before he decided to give full-time football a go. Well, sorry, he wasn't even playing full-time football when he was a Bray. He was an electrician in the Jervis Street Shopping Centre. That's right. Before joining Stephen Kenny's brigade. And look, we know what happened there.
Legendary status is firmly on the shoulders of Dane Massey in that position.
Absolutely.
Good touch by Mark Murray.
Good header. Knocking down the... Oh, lovely touch inside. Oh, that's a superb bit of play. Unlucky. That's brilliant.
Striker, that's fantastic.
Absolutely top quality football.
Move of the match there. Goalkeeper had to drop down. Fantastic save again from the evergreen Gary Rogers. Still play.
That was just lovely. And look, this all started from Dan Shields' opposite number, a long ball headed down, quick flick, number 17 with a superb strike, well clawed away by Gary Rogers. As Gally mentioned there, probably the move of the match so far, and then quite impressive where a corner almost went straight out of play on the full. Interesting to see such a thing happen. Gary Rogers this time went left with the last kick out, this time he's going right. Not as far as Keith Fannin. Fannin just got the radar a wee bit wrong there. That's a bad bounce in the AstroTurf. You see, that's what Tiernan reminding him of it. Tiernan gets the ball this time midfield, skips inside Damien Rojas. Again, a lot of total football being played here. Dane Massey strides towards the left wing. Darren Meenan out towards his more familiar right wing position. We've seen him whipping across many a time. Whips it in this time. Lovely curl on it, well taken by Dan Shields on his penalty spot. Command and goalkeeping from the former legend. Bowls it out as far as... Only in fact Ronan Murray picks it up this time. And it's a throw-in to Team Charli Mae. Halfway inside their own half. Over to our right-hand side. Tiernan steps in again, gives it to David Ward. He scored 11 goals 25 years ago. Rolling back the years. Today, can't get his first of the day yet, but there's a goal coming. Possibly Charli Mae either, because the best save of the match so far, while Dan Shields has been busy, best save of the match has come from Gary Rogers against number 17 with that lovely effort, well stopped.
Charli Mae just getting into it now in the last third, just kind of edging their way in. If they just get a couple of passes right, they'll be, I think the centre back pair is going to keep them off the ball as long as they can, but they could just stop doing passes like that as they get in the commentator's curse.
Great ball again. Murray back on the ball again. No, just skips out of play for a throw into Dundalk over on that far side. Massey gives it to Tiernan Mulvaney. Tiernan's looking for an awful lot of the ball, trying to make a lot of things happen here so far. Looking to spread the play this time. John White's making an overlap and run. Ronan Murray looking if he can spot him. Plays the ball inside to Darren Meenan, who stepped inside. Meenan steps inside Keith Fannin, 2 number 10s. Ball's clipped past. Tight offside call again. I'd say
stepped a wee bit.
Ronan Murray lucky to escape a yellow card for kicking the ball away. Definitely Colin Halligan again showing his leniency towards the home side. There's John White saying, good luck, John has to go.
If he is driving, if he is going to Shamrock Rovers ladies game, it's going to be a sore drive with the shape of that football in his chest in the road. Done
well in his 38 minutes of football. He's just walked off and Darius hasn't brought on a substitute yet.
It's Jonto.
Looks like John Curtis coming on in the right back spot. Keith Fannin tees up a left-footed effort again. Well held again by Gary Rogers. John Curtis coming over looking for the ball, wearing the number 21 jersey.
I thought you bigged up your mate Fanning, but he seems to be running the game as soon as he's been excellent since he's come on.
Substitution for the Dundalk FC Legends coming on for John White is John Curtis.
Lovely touch inside by Ronan Murray, gets it, and there's Fannin again. Look, man just oozes class, and I hate to say it as a Cavan man. For those who had it, look, there's one-man team of his own. Paul Dunn, David Ward skipped over to this right-hand side. Obviously the change in formation now with John White having left the field. David Ward skipped over to this right-hand side to give John Curtis a little more protection. Darren Meenan has gone over to the left wing. Wardy picks it up, just skips it as far as Paul Crowley. Crowley to the aforementioned Meenan. Meenan, who started his professional career at Finn Harps way back in 2007 before embarking on the tour of both the League of Ireland and the Northern Irish Football League. And he's back here at Oriel Park, lining out from our Heaven and More route most recently. Fannin again. A little bit of clever football as Team Charli Mae look to build from midfield. Back as far as Dan Shields. Dan Shields' last long effort had set up that chance for number 17. Striding forward, plenty of space now in the midfield area for number 4 to stride it for Charli Mae to build that attack.
Seems to be a bit more of a gap in midfield now. Dundalk Legends could be getting tired from trying to hunt down Daniel Shields' goal. Mark Murray's on the step.
He's an effort, scores a point. Yeah, back in his Drumgoon GA days, that'll be counted. Be happy enough with that. I think he was content just to amble back into his centre half position. We've lost another football, second one of the afternoon. And 40 minutes into the game, Colin Halligan has decided enough is enough. So,
considering Dundalk at the start they had, it's kind of finished it kind of even the last couple of minutes. Charli Mae slowly but surely getting back into it. Dan Shields obviously the man to thank.
I think if you are Dan Shields, he might have a mysterious injury at half-time, just go off with his head held high. I know if I was in goals, that's what I'd be thinking. Have my job done at half-time. Good luck, lads, it's all yours. Again, we've some half-time entertainment from the same penalty shoot masters in the first half. Couple of fancy step overs. Now Colin Halligan having a chat with Charli Mae. I think he probably disputing some of those offside calls. I think, Chris, we're going to have to go and look at those on the VAR, but Before then, to keep everybody entertained, we have our half-time quiz. For anybody who is tuning in Ireland, this quiz will make a lot of sense to you because it appears in the match day programme. Every home game, for those away, probably knows that those from Chicago, now would be the time to take a break, have a coffee, come back. Just remember, today's game is in aid of Féileacáin, a charity which has raised over 30,000 euros so far through fundraising efforts from Dean Arrowsmith and the Charli Mae the Charli Mae charity, running so far 30,000 since December 2020 when Charli Mae passed away. Dean representing Charli this afternoon, one of a number of dads representing their children on this team Charli Mae. So beside us we have Chris, our cameraman, representing Abby. We have Dean representing Charli. We have Tony Owens representing Arthur. Donald Hanks we saw early in the first half before went off due to mysterious circumstances and will hopefully return in the second half. Maybe he's just doing a podcast with Pingu. He's coming back. He's representing William. We have Dara, been represented by Pádraig McGarry. We have Molly, represented by Conor Rooney, and we have Rosie, represented by Stephen Dempsey. 0-0 at the break here. Dan Shields, probably in the wrong goal. Dan Shields lined out originally. We had him as a legend. He's turned out to be a legend in the team Charli Mae goal. Gally, you've been here before. You were down in Cove 8 weeks ago representing the Republic of Ireland, actually skippering the Republic of Ireland transplant team, so we're very lucky to have Republic of Ireland international skipper beside us in the box, in the commentary box. Gally, what are we expecting in the second half before I grill you on these quiz questions?
Well, like our second half, tiredness and weakness is probably going to be the number one thing, but
that's just us two. What about on the field?
Charli Mae would definitely go into the half time expecting to be 2 or 3 down. I look at it for charity, and you know it's a great occasion, but you want to kind of hold your head up and get stuck into the game. In the last couple of minutes, they've definitely pinged the ball a bit. Your mate Fanning there has come in and absolutely number 5 as well, his name escaping. 17 seems to be linking up really well. So if they can, I don't think Dundalk legends don't have too many more subs to put on. So I think John was kind of one of the last ones to come on. So a bit of tiredness now. Charli Mae might fancy themselves in the first couple of minutes if they can get it early.
Yeah, look, I mean, you know, you kind of come out and at the start of the game we were looking, and Team Charli Mae were doing an interesting warm-up, and even more focused warm-up. The greatest respect to the Dundalk FC. You kind of thought, you know, looking at, you know, you kind of look and going, I hope this turns into a bit of a match here, rather than look 0-0. You can say Dundalk have been the dominant side, but when it's 0-0, we saw number 7, probably the best save of the match came from Gary Rogers on the left-hand side. So I mean, once it remains competitive to a certain extent, it means like the crowd here and anybody who is watching us live is getting your enjoyment back, because you don't want to see a game just run away from anybody like so.
Yeah, you know, if they give that kind of inkling at the start, the risk talking more, they can hope it's flip from the worst. But I know this the comment there, Dan Cheesy we mentioned, it's been into the first 10 minutes of the second half. They can get another 10 minutes, it goes. If they get suspended in the first 10 minutes, the Dolphins will open up there and do absolutely crucified in the last 20 or 20 minutes. But yeah, they can hang in there for the first 10 minutes, they should be alright.
Now, moving on to the most serious matters of the afternoon, never mind the game, this is what we all came here for. Question number 1, and for those of you who are intending to attend the Finn Harps game tomorrow, no cheating with the halftime quiz, this is in it already. Question number 1 for Andrew Skipper Gally. Peter Cherry has played with 3 League of Ireland sides outside of his spells at Dundalk.
And I warned Steph when he mentioned this last night. Like, this was going to come up with a quiz now at half time. Derry City.
Yeah.
Bray.
Yeah.
Derry City, Bray and Cork.
Yes. 1 out of 1 for Gally. Question 2. And if anybody wants to, on the chat, put in the answers to these, please feel free to do so.
I'll get you a bag of chips.
Vinny's going to go mad. It's not a pizza for everyone. Question number 2. What first name? Chris is going over here because he's seen the answers. He's going to put in the answers. What first name links former Dundalk players Shields and Bennett? I have to go back a while for Bennett. somewhat injury-prone English midfielder. Actually sat in the stands beside me one game.
Straight away when you said Shield, I said Chris, but
that was to throw you.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, he's not. He's Dean. Sorry, yeah. Gee, my God, yeah. For some reason, I went Sam Bennett. I mean, that's not right. Because then it was Sam Shields. that got me down that one at home. That got me down that one.
Next one.
Dean, Jesus.
Which ex-Dundalk forward was known as the Hawk?
Oh, there's he going.
Yes. So you're back on track. That's I knew I'd throw you and bring you back in. Yeah. Sean McHale, currently on loan at Dundalk, from which Premier Division side?
Pats.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4.
Don't know. What surname is shared? Now we're into the Harps questions. What surname is shared by brothers Tony and Barry, who both lied out for Harps in recent seasons? Tony currently the captain, actually.
McNamee.
Correct. Who was recently announced as the new Finn Harps manager?
Oh, legend. Kevin McHugh.
Yes. Eric McWoods played with Finn Harps recently and is back in the NIPL. What nationality is he? Number 2 striker, wore number 8 for them.
Scottish?
Nope. It was the Mac through you. American. Next one. And this is a snaky one too. But on which street is Finn Park located?
Oh. Chris, you're going to step in on this. We won't know.
Yeah.
You got me down that one, Tom.
Last Finn Harps question. Naveni Street.
Oh.
No. Halfway through. If things get quiet during the second half, there's 4 more questions to come. So again, if anybody wants to, we'll pre-warn you, like when they tell you, don't look at the scores. Now we're back in the action here. Teams lining out. Look for number 11 has come on for Dundalk FC Legends. There's Mass.
Getting a wee wave there. It's probably towards you, Tom. I'm taking it. I'm waving.
He's come over here, he heard. No, do you know what? It's just a bit of coaching he needs now to tell him to sit back in that overlapping left back crack.
Young Ross McKevitt on for the Legends here.
We're number 11.
Son of Sharon. Paul Steph's dropped into the natural right back position. Crowley in at centre back. They've obviously the fancy done doing all the running, so we can put him in the midfield like a thoroughbred horse there running around the field in the first half.
An adventurous 4-2 formation. 4-2-4 formation there. Ross is going left wing here. Dave Massey gives it to Ronan Murray. And we start again. As you mentioned, the Dundalk FC Legends bench is bar Darius. It's pretty much empty. You've T sitting there. That's it. Tiernan came off for Ronan for
T and John
Ross.
Curtis, that's it, yeah. And
what? That's it, yes.
Yeah. Mark Rosser in the middle. He could probably kill out. I think maybe Mark's carrying something. Oh!
Benno come on for Gary Rogers. Gary's obviously gone too. So that's it.
I think the Charli Mae defence, if young Ross McKevitt gets on the ball too often, I think they're going to have a torrid time with him in the next 15 minutes.
We've 2 managers and 2 subs on the bench. Tiernan looks like he's not going to. Well, John came on for the second part of the first half. Just looks comfortably sitting there. Tiernan looks quite relaxed. I can't see him moving unless there's an injury. So it looks like the Legends will have 40 minutes to play out this game. Ball's fizzed across by number 13. Cleared by Pádraig Gallagly as far as Dane Massey. Massey steps over the ball, gives it to Ronan Murray. Murray to Gallagly. Gallagly bypasses Benno and gives it to Steph McKevitt. Knows when his captain's looking for the ball, you give it to him. This time it's Crowley. Murray leaves it set as far as Massey. Massey gives it up to David Ward. Wardy gives a super ball into Darren Meenan. Meenan faced up by Charli Mae right back, who gets the better of him and lobs it clear down this right hand side, but it's deflected only as far as Mass. Mass is lining one up on his left foot. He sees it coming around. He could see his name in lights.
As if he hasn't done enough in his football career.
That was the pinnacle there for him. He knows it was there.
Ross McKevitt rocking obviously the tiniest of shin pads. This Jack Grealish trying that. I don't know if I'm old school, but I'm not a fan.
No. Back in our day, those shin pads didn't exist. You had to strap on things the size of wellies, like.
Around your ankle as well.
Yeah.
Like an extra pair of socks.
But obviously the word that the team Charli Mae had with Colin Halligan has paid off, because now they're the beneficiaries of the refereeing decisions, which are 50-50. This time's Ward, Damien Rojas, the on loan Chicago football in the community player, gives it, starts this attack, number 13. Free down this right hand side, faced up by Ross McKevitt, gives it as far as 15. 15 swings the ball in, cleared by Pádraig Gallagher. This time it's a throw in just in front of us, and those of you who've ever been in the Dundalk commentary box, there's an actual blind spot along the touchline, so it's quite difficult to see what's happening. We reckon the ball has been thrown in, which it has indeed. Taken down by Robbie Dunn. Darren Meenan knocked off the ball, but Ronan Murray steps in. Looked like a foul there, but referee played on. Giving Charli Mae the advantage. Lovely turn inside. 2 lovely turns inside. Looked like another foul. 18 gives a nutmeg to Paul Dunn. He'll not be thanked for that. Dunn heads clear. David Ward steps back to give it to Ross McKevitt's dad, Steph. Stepped inside. Charli Mae attack down this centre.
He's checked his run.
Oh! Pádraig Gallagher showing his experience to release Darren Meenan after a clever interception. Clever ball over to this right hand side to release Darren Murray. Murray to McKevitt. McKevitt gives it back inside to Murray. Back inside again off Murray. This time clever little ball releases Ross McKevitt. He has to be offside. And Colin Halligan, as with the new rules, which obviously Halligan will be familiar with in the Premier Division, waiting for the player to touch the ball before blown offside. And it looks like, for his own sake, Dan Shields has decided to take the second half with Team Charli Mae as well, looking to preserve that clean sheet. Clever ball back to rampaging Murray, gives it only as far as the opposite number 3, Dane Massey. Massey to McKevitt. Steph had overcooked ball. That was Massey, not.
Steph's not going to be happy with that.
No, that's it. If Steph goes off, Massey's not getting the captain's armband. No way after that one. I think first player to be hooked could be Massey based on that one now. And he gets a belt in the ball just for his troubles. Team Charli Mae again build down this right hand side. Pádraig Gallagher with some solid defending, thrown in, and looks like the AstroTurf has claimed its first victim of the afternoon with that unfortunate stumble as Team Charli Mae tried to build an attack. Dundalk FC defend over to our right hand side. Clever pass by Crowley. Release Murray to Dunn. Dunn to McKevitt. McKevitt looks up. First thing he's going to do is try and switch it. Indeed he does. Ross trying to stay onside. But instead Darren Meenan steps inside. Ball just overcooked. Robbie Farrell wearing number 6.
I figured it.
Aha. Eventually.
Apologies to Robbie.
Apologies to all our listeners as well. And viewers even.
There was a search party in there one stage in the marshes looking for who was number 6.
Yeah. Robbie Farrell, who forever will be known by one game, the man forever defined by one game. And it wasn't even at Oriel Park. It's not even a team that exists anymore. Funny, his last outing was for New Ross Celtic. And we have New Ross over on the left-hand side as a substitute for Dundalk FC legends this afternoon. This time they are defending. Dane Massey stands up, does well to force Team Charli Mae back. But they're still there. I think it's a handball.
That's a professional dive there. That's Dane Massey. You can tell he's played the game. Diving right onto the ball. It's a super ball. Ross McKevitt.
Ross McKevitt. The dink is on. Composed defending from Murray. Operating number 3 in the centre half position. As we mentioned earlier on. Man with a number of accolades to his name, on and off the field. Team Charli Mae attack down this left-hand side. Looking to skip across. Build it slow. Very little pressure applied. I think Dundalk really need to work on that press. Darius Cairns and his assistant, Mark Rossiter, need to have a word in relation to the press and the level of intensity in that Dundalk midfield is really lacking now. Ronan Murray steps through that. See, Ronan Murray must have been listening to us in the commentary box. Steps forward, gives it to Paul Dunn. Dunn switches it over. John Curtis, who's back in the action again. And the ball just skips beyond John Curtis. That number 21 jersey we have seen worn with distinction on that right wing by Darren Meenan before. John Curtis, the latest in line to give it a wear. Ball thrown by Damien Rojas down that left-hand side. Skipper Steph McKevitt in his more familiar right back area had operated in a more attacking role in the first half. Now back where he belongs. That's a harsh one. Back at right back. Right to be playing at number 9. Robbie Farrell with a touch inside, just skips beyond him, and Murray unceremoniously drives it towards the away fans who are hiding from the rain in the stand. I think we're up here for the Cove game a couple of weeks ago, and there's about 6 of them there as well in the rain. But to be fair, James Rogers, who's on CoCom that day, had said to me, listen, there's a lot of them inside the stand protecting from the rain. So again, that's where the away fans are. Team Charli Mae defending that goal over to our left hand side, manned by Dan Shields in both the first half and the second half. Dundalk, who've changed their keeper. Chris Benno in goals for the second half. Gary Rogers in goals for the first half. Benno's last outing in the League of Ireland was over 10 years ago for Longford Town, the 2014 season. Longford Town actually drew 0-0 here at Oriel Park in one of the very few times Stephen Kenny's side dropped points that season, or the following season, sorry.
Massey taking matters into his own hands here.
Yeah. And that's the second time he's got a belt to that ball. No.
The Kurt Hill, Chicago's mate, has come in from Chicago and absolutely belted Dane Massey. He's felt that one.
Another tumble there. Steph McKevitt takes a tumble. Referee has ignored potential foul. And it's headed clear by Murray for Team Charli Mae. It's getting a little bit feisty now, Gally.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just pure tiredness or frustration that they just want that ball kept down on the ground as much as they can. Dane Massey's definitely feeling the after effects of that as well. I could caught him in the eye, so it could be a little bit of a nasty one. But he's staying where he is up top. He's not coming back.
That's good. David Ward has vacated the action. So we're looking for, miraculously, must be, don't know. They must have turned the heating off at the Dundalk changing rooms because there's 4 or 5 back on the bench now. So maybe there are options for the Dundalk FC legends. Like mentioned, this game is being played for Féileacáin. So if anybody in their social media feeds can donate, can support by retweeting, sharing, liking, posting, reposting, anything you can do to send a message for the lovely touch by Dane Massey to release Ronan Murray. Murray to Dan Shields. Yet again, Shields has been a wall in the Charli Mae goal. I thought it was going to come to an end, but unfortunately Dane Massey's run came to an end, and it's Charli Mae who break away down this right hand side. This Team Charli Mae set up by Dean Arrowsmith. Currently lovely, clever defended from Park Gallagly. And it's Ross McKevitt with a touch of the ball, gives it back to Robbie Dunn. Dunn to Ronan Murray. Murray with a touch in as far as Robbie Farrell. Farrell to John Curtis. Curtis with a clever touch inside to Ronan Murray. Murray to Ross McKevitt. Central role for McKevitt. Looks to play in Robbie Dunn. loose touch, loose pass from Robbie Dunn, and it's Team Charli Mae with the aid of the referee. Colin Halligan, I did tell you that he was on.
He just wanted his touch there. He just wanted to say, "Can I touch the ball?"
Colin Halligan, whose daughters are actually carving out quite a fine sporting career for themselves on loud GA pitches. So Colin, I won't say his day is done, he's still refereeing, but he wanted that touch. Fiona and Katie would be proud of that first touch from their dad. Ball over to that left-hand side. Damien Rojas again trying to get away from Dane Massey. Massey's looking for him to get revenge for that clip earlier on. Again, Team Charli Mae build. Number 4 gives a left-footed ball, just clips it inside, just skips beyond. And I see a number of substitutes are warming up. Either that or the seats aren't as comfy as they used to be over in the away dugout. Tom Mohan and Mick Neville looking on. Strangely been quiet from over in that dugout. Both dugouts actually remarkably quiet given the pressure that's on all these players today, given what's at stake. The Charli Mae Shield, which Dundalk FC legends, nobody has managed to wrestle off Charli Mae, Team Charli Mae in the first 2 years of it, so this could be history in the making we could be witnessing here at Oriel Park. If Dundalk FC can find a breakthrough, no better man than Robbie Farrell. If you could look, Dane Massey attempts a long-range effort against Dan Shields. The form Dan Shields is in, it's going to have to be a better effort than that to beat him.
Dan Shields, if he's in the pub over the weekend, the bank holiday weekend, this will be the highlight of the conversation. That he's keeping out Dane Massey, Darren Meehan and the likes.
Massey's looking for one again. Ross McKevitt's running outside him. Instead he plays it through to Ronan Murray. Good defending from Team Charli Mae, but Massey looks at it again. Again looks to release Ross McKevitt. No, comes back again. This time he does go for McKevitt. McKevitt looking to do what Massey couldn't do, but blocked again. As far as Robbie Farrell, Farrell looks for an inch of space, doesn't get it. Dunn steps in. Looks to play in Robbie Farrell. Farrell with a touch, tries to dink. Dan Shields, but you need to be a lot better than that. This isn't Station Road now.
No mess with Darius Kieran shouting at Robbie for the chance that he's missed. There's absolutely no mess with Darius Kieran over there. It's a charity game, but you know, it's on the record.
Well, look, see 3 subs warming up now. Robbie Farrell could be hooked for that. Ref, yeah.
Gary Rogers coming in outfield here, Robbie, and looks like
it is indeed, yeah.
Does it? On the left.
That is Garth, yeah.
Gary Rogers is going to take to the field up top by the looks of it.
Well, to be fair, earlier in his career he was a free scoring half forward for Meath GA in his home club. Actually made Nick Sim at mid-county. Garth coming out. Page 7 of the playbook, lads. I'm the libero here. That's it. Some crack if Dundalk conceded after Garth come on.
Then how do you can see we've a goalkeeper up top.
Yeah. Total football in its truest form. So that explains then how the bench suddenly got bigger. Or suddenly got, not bigger, Jesus, I said Sarah, but it suddenly got more
numeric.
More populated. Yeah. And that was it. Robbie Farrell's last chance of the action, gone.
No messing.
Darius, lethal.
Oh.
Said Darren Meehan. Paul Dunn. Gary Rogers turns inside. Rogers.
Gary.
That takes a touch.
Gary Rogers.
What strikers couldn't do. He knows the weakness of a keeper. You see, that's it. The goalkeeping inside. Doesn't explain why me and you never. Yeah. That's it. We mentioned earlier on, pre-broadcast, we mentioned the number 9 being worn by a goalkeeper, Jens Lehmann. Of course, that the more famous incumbent of an outfielder jersey was David James coming on for Stuart Pearce back when Stuart Pearce managed Man City, and he had a special outfielder jersey in the last few moments of a Premier League campaign when City, back in the days before the current City regime, simpler times. Not saying that simpler times now with Gary Rogers playing outfield, but simpler times for Man City. Tiernan Mulvaney putting the Charli Mae defence under pressure with the clear. And as far as McCrudden, who had played in defence in the first half, comes on in the second half in a more attacking formation.
I'd say some of the Charli Mae lads are cursing Dane Massey turning up today.
Yeah, and they're going to be met by Brian Gartland striding through the centre of the Dundalk FC Legends midfield. Some clever footwork again. Look, a step over, roll over. Releases Ronan Murray. Murray steps across, gives it to Tiernan. Tiernan with a body feint. Ooh! Again, if that's in the half, if that's the first half, Colin Halligan gives that a penalty to the home side. Second half is team Charli Mae. Gart steps across, uses his strength, gets it back off Gary Rogers on his left foot, dinks it in his right foot. Gary Rogers just
left the
not reading it. Yeah.
It's amazing. Goalkeeper to goalkeeper.
No loyalty amongst the goalkeeping union. Funny with Gart and Massey, there's a futsal connection there as well. Prior to the both Knock Lion lads, but prior to their league, I thought he was going to hit it first time McCrudden, but instead Steph, mistake from Steph. Darius is warming up, 3 subs on the bench to take off Steph after that. Handball possibly.
Have to watch that again in the
Oh, definitely.
Like a handball and a foul in the space of 3 seconds there.
If we could put in a wee call to Colin Halligan, the VAR are looking at this. We might have to go back. So those viewers, we may just have to go back for this VAR penalty. We're going to review it here. Chris is looking at the footage as we speak. It's a misheader from Captain McKevitt. Could lose his captain's. Oh no, he does pull away. To be fair to Massey in the first half, much like his skipper this half, just pulls out of it.
Mark Murray's having an absolute dream game at centre back.
Racing forward now. Going forward's no problem. It's going back's going to be the issue.
Don't lose the head, Mark. Keep it nice and easy.
Good. Lovely touch inside. And he said that's that. And he goes back to his centre half position. McCrudden takes it, turns. Lovely inside ball. Gart's with years of experience. Gart's fancy himself as a midfield runner here. He's sitting back now. He's had enough. He's dropping back into the central defence. Like I mentioned earlier on, Brian and Shane Grimes actually, and Kieran Kilduff and Massey, and the absent Paul Wheelo as well, all played in the under-21 futsal league, which the FAI had organised 2007. An astonishing amount of players actually came out of that. Kilduff was one of the top scorer. I don't know if he finished up at top scorer, but it was fantastic. Look, you even see futsal skills now from Brian. Tiernan Mulvaney just not quick enough to pick up on that, but Steph McKevitt picks up. Keith Fannin straight into the action.
Straight from the bench.
Look at that. He sprung. Straight down the throat of Dan Shields.
That was a perfect time substitution there. Steph had acres of space and he's come on and made it an absolute region out of it.
I think Vino is going to be delighted that the pizza, we've already passed it off. Today's pizza will be tomorrow's, because the man of the match has already gone to Dan Shields. We kind of, myself and James half gave it away, and we were sitting here watching the Cove game, and myself and Chris then had to spend a podcast pretending that it wasn't Sean Keogh. We're not even going to bother now. Dan Shields, you have been man of the match unless you drop the ball in the next 20 minutes. Gary Rogers picks up the ball. Dan Shields, look at the confidence there. This time he's going long. Wynn catches it. I think I've commentator cursed Dan Shields. Clever touch by Darren Meenan to Massey. Massey looks to pick out the pace of Gary Rogers. Inside Murray. Rogers wearing his blue boots. Finds space in the penalty area, squares it to Brian Gartland, but Keith Fannin, look at that. The man is everywhere. Clears it out for a corner to Dane Massey and the Dundalk FC Legends. If this game quietens down, remember we have 4 quiz questions to terrorise Gally and Chris with later on. So, I thought Garth was going to get his head on it.
Gartland, yeah.
We have seen that combination so many times over the years. Referee decides an offside possibly, or a foul. Either way, Dan Shields has a free kick on the edge of his 6-yard box, gives it short. Keith Fannin stepped in by Brian Gartland. I'd say the two boys faced each other at some point during their careers. This time it's Charli Mae on this left-hand side. Little step over. No sign of Donald Hanks or Pingu in the second half so far, but we're halfway into the second half, so Tom Mohan and Mick Neville waving on those substitutions. Looks like number 19 coming off for Team Charli Mae and number 16 coming on Throw in taken by Steph. Back as far as Chris Benyon. Benyon fancies himself on his left foot. On his left foot, the Scotsman. No, skips said to play one goalkeeper to another almost, but Gary's not going to get that.
We really looked there for Gary. Don't get that on camera.
Outfield is just not what it seems to be. As I mentioned, Gary did have a career outfield as a GAA player prior to a very storied League of Ireland career. Both here, and he had a fine career before he came here. Actually, look, a superb keeper. I don't think he gets the credit he deserves sometimes.
Fantastic, definitely. I always had Steve Williams in my Dundalk 11, but Gary Rogers has definitely given him a run for his money over the last decade or so under the Stephen Kenny regime. An absolute fantastic athlete of goals. Here we go, Ronan Murray's in.
Lifts it across. Dan Shields gets.
Dan Shields.
Look at that. That is exceptional.
That is incredible.
That man is a cape somewhere.
Chris, cut that and we'll use that as the intro to the podcast next week. That's incredible. The athleticism. Probably in 3 last night as well. Was he in 3D under last night? Unbelievable. Well, Charlie, around here for walk it right.
Go for it. Right hand side, left hand. Picks it left hand side. Where?
Steph McKevitt.
To Fannin. Left foot. Told you. Body behind it from the experienced former Middlesbrough Academy goalkeeper, currently working in the Bows Academy. And at first team level as well. Chris Benyon showing years of experience there. Years of experience also from Dane Massey down this left hand side. Looks to pick out Brian Gartlett running through. Ball just skipped up. Gart saw the lights and it just went beyond him. Look at that. First touch, gorgeous.
He's in if he sees him. He's in if he sees him.
Keith Fannin, dink, 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 dink. No, McCrudden. Hit it. Well defended. A powerful effort, well deflected by Paul Crowley. Literally knocked him off his feet. That's probably the clip I'd be cutting.
Paul Crowley's not going for the team now.
Look, and we watch it again. 1, 2, 3. That's probably it.
Tall and Dean on ice there. He's done a full body twirl.
Yeah. If he's a skateboard, that's a 720. And again, match ball number 3, I do believe. So again, just a reminder, today's match, we've 10 minutes to go, 0-0 between Dundalk and Dundalk FC Legends to give them their full title, and Team Charli Mae. Charli Mae, who are the current holders, undefeated so far in this Charli Mae Shield for the last 2 seasons. This is the first season it's been held at Oriel Park. Today's match is in aid of Féileacáin charity, which is raising funds to support families of those who have lost children. And as that ball is with Paul Dunn over on that right hand side, they cross it over as far as Brian Garland's sneaking behind Dundalk. Number 18 takes a little back heel as far as Ronan Murray. Nah, it's incredible. Was Garth wasted as a centre back his whole career with vision like that? I know in one last, if anybody's read his book, One Last Shot, he does speak about his prowess out the field, further out the field. Keith Fannin again, speaking of prowess out the field, as I mentioned, this game is in aid of Féileacáin, so anybody who has donated so far, thank you very much. So far, the Charli Mae Foundation have raised 30,000 since December 2020. They're looking to raise 5,000 at the start of today's game. It was 3,500. It would be amazing to raise 5 by the end of today's game. So if you can, please like, share, post, repost, reshare, relike, whatever you can do. Get that message out there. Number of dads playing for their children today. Like I mentioned, it's Charli Mae, named after his Dean is representing Charlie. We have Tony Owens representing Arthur. William been represented by Donal Hanks. Hanks, who we expect to see in the final moments unless he's carrying an injury, unfortunately suffered in the first half. We also have Dara been represented by Pádraig McGarry. Molly been represented by Conor Rooney. Rosie been represented by Stephen Dempsey. And of course Abby been represented by Chris here in the commentary box beside us. Chris providing you with all the camera angles. Myself and Gally providing you with whatever definite silence.
The voiceover of the action.
Ball's in this right hand side. Tiernan Mavella crosses it over, goes beyond guards just as far as Gary Rogers, and I think it was the mention of the word camera. Dan Shields says camera save time, just nicks it over. The latest in a long line of excellent saves by the former legend.
And they're taking no prisoner. They brought an actual ball boy right onto the 18-yard line to give them the ball to make sure they have it for the kick-off. Not wasting any more time than's needed.
Obviously sent on by Darius and Rossi, who can smell blood. Ball whipped by Tiernan over to his mate Steph McKevitt, and again Keith Fannin clears it only as far as Dane Massey, one left foot to another. This time it's Paul Dunn. Screws it to the right hand side, pick out Tiernan Mulvena. Mulvena to Ronan Murray. Murray to Robbie Farrell. Farrell steps across, gives it to Steph McKevitt. Steph's ball over as far as Ronan Murray. Murray swings it in penalty area where Dan Shields takes the ball off the head of Brian Gartland. Gartland, we've seen, been very strong in the area over the years here at Oriel Park, scored many a goal. Well done again. That's the second time that Garts has went in, and Dan Shields has got the better of him.
Dan can happily live off this performance for the next 12 months in any bar, in any restaurant in Dundalk.
In fact, this production is probably just going to turn into a Dan Shields show reel. Like, this is what it's going to be renamed. Ball's on this right hand side. Steph McKevitt, captain's armband, and his son Ross has departed the action, sitting over in the dugout. Ball's nodded over by Robbie Farrell. Robbie, 4-goal Farrell. Just conscious that there are possibly people watching us and listening to us who weren't even born when those goals went in. And that's when you realise you're starting to get a bit old. We've 5 minutes left here if this game doesn't go to penalties. If it does, we've a little bit longer.
You can almost see how Charlie the team have obviously kept this trophy, because they've hung in. They've obviously looked with Dan Shields' performance, but you're obviously expecting the first couple of minutes Mick Neville and Tom Owen are probably thinking the worst. But they've dug in, and in fairness to them, they've had 1 or 2 chances, and they're definitely in and around getting the job done if they can just find a little pass through. Brian Garland hasn't helped matters coming on, practically playing 2 roles in the centre. He's that big.
Robbie Farrell showing he still has it with a cheeky little nutmeg. Ball's down this right hand side. Yeah, it's going long, held up in the wind. Fannin and McCrudden.
Steph felt that. Oh! But they're in. If they get it right, they're in.
Right, ball, no ways, never off. Never off.
Can they finish?
Go on.
McCrudden.
Oh!
He's put it wide. An absolute peach of a chance. There's a question mark of offside. We watch it back.
Probably quite a large question mark, if we're going to be honest with things.
I wonder if it's anybody playing, it would maybe Paul Gallagher.
That's just, yeah. We're funny watching.
Oh. It is close.
Referee gave benefit of the doubt, and luckily enough for
I think everybody's just looking to see a goal at this stage. Just let it happen.
Yeah. To be fair, the rain has stopped. It's not getting any warmer, but the rain has stopped. We've nobody going for the exits yet. Game on a knife edge here. Dan Shields spreads the play over to 2 players on the right back area. Ball's given inside. You've actually overrun the Dundalk midfield. Who'll get it back. Brian Gartland gives a simple ball inside to Dane Massey. 2 knock-lying lads linking up with each other. Ronan Murray to Massey. Gartz is running through the centre. Has to be offside. It's a cheeky little finish. Well, got a hand to it again, and well cleared by the defender.
We've got to be well into the double figures of stops and saves from Dan Shields today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He has been the difference between the sides at the minute as we edge toward. Just watching that save back again, it was a strong hand he got, and well cleared by the covering defender. Brian Gartland striding through. Not so much striding now as he gets the ball. waiting in the penalty area for this cross to come in. Looks like Massey's going to hit this. No, Massey's at Tiernan's there. Sorry, Massey's on the edge of the box. Aimed up as far as Gary Rogers.
Number 14 felt that from David Ward. Oh no, it's Gary Rogers. Excuse, it's the head. Sorry, apologies.
Watching that.
Great ball from Robbie.
Great ball. Oh, look at that chest as far as Gary Rogers.
Oh, referee. Oh,
no, Dan Shields had the ball. At that time it was Wardy.
This has been more crack than any first division match we've had this season. This has been great. If Charlie, they've just walked this ball. They could do this.
Back post. Ah, it was nearly there. Great touch again. Touch of class from Keith Van Thread. Oh, look at that. Yes.
Goal.
That's it.
McCrudden that's it. Really well. What goal? Steph McKevin is screaming for offside. We'd have to watch it back here.
That's a superb goal.
A fantastic 1-2 as well, just before.
Number 15 across, half cleared by McKevin. Watch this touch from Keith Fannin. Gives it over to number 16. Crosses. Oh, lovely little one touch.
Brilliant.
And there is McCrudden.
Done sleeping at the back. Benion's come out into no man's land there a bit, Chris, has he? Keepers Union up here, let's be careful.
Now, Gary McCrudden, who back in his heyday did play in an All-Ireland basketball final at national level. Showed a finishing touch there. 6 yards out. Simple finish for Team Charli Mae. And with that doggedness to hang into a game, and then look, all it needs is one goal, like you mentioned. That's all it needed. Wind's picking up now. Dan Shields struggling to get the ball stopped. Kicks it on. Steph McKevin looking to make up for that error. Oh, that's has to be a foul from Robbie Farrell. Blown slightly early.
I think.
Referee Colin Halligan obviously speaking to Team Charli Mae at half-time, maybe wait until they score and then blown up. Though I think any accusations of such would have to be thoroughly scrutinised before they can be ever proven. Oh, I think with 79 minutes on the clock and a 1-0 victory, that is actually Darren Smith, it looks to be, number 12. Paul's brother, former striker for Dundalk and Monaghan United, Monaghan man himself. Darren, the former CMUL chairperson. So back to Chicago goes the Charli Mae Shield. Still unbeaten, 3-time winners of the Team Charli Mae Shield are Team Charli Mae. We are coming towards the end of this afternoon's broadcast. But before we leave you, we want to just do a quick shout out again. If you are watching and haven't donated, please share the link, repost, do what you can. Every single euro or dollar for that matter counts. I see Dean Arrowsmith going around shaking hands with everybody here today. He has been the brains behind the operation to make this a reality. It has been an incredible success so far. He and his family have raised, and his supporters and his friends have raised over 30,000 in the 4.5 years since the Charli Mae Foundation was set up in aid of Féileacáin. Féileacáin again are looking for your support. And if you can, please share, like, post, repost, just get the message out there. Even myself and Gally mentioned earlier on the importance of having conversations, the importance of talking. This is all we see. Like, we're all sitting up in the commentary box together. We see all the teams out shaking hands and presenting. It's that act of coming together. It's that act of having the conversation and being a support there for you. That's what Féileacáin are doing. So again, mentioned it before and we'll keep mentioning it. Please do spread the word, and please do donate if you can, as we wait now for that Charli Mae Shield to be returned to Team Charli Mae.
And we have to listen to Steph McKevin over the next couple of weeks for the podcast. He'll be absolutely fuming. Great game, great occasion. What a finish. We did say Charli Mae will come back into it. That, you know, you can have so many chances in the game, but if you've got someone like Dan Shields you're coming up against, that's the outcome of it. You get that little bit of luck and you're in.
And seeing as you look, we talk about segues. The top presenters use segues. I'm not a top presenter by a long shot, but on that segue of goalkeeping, we've 4 questions left as we wait here. The lads, which club, and this is one for Chris, which club side does Emi Martinez line out for? Goalkeeper, Emi Martinez.
Am I answering?
You're
I thought he was answering that. I knew that, not that bad.
In which country do FC Randers play?
FC Randers. That's the States.
No.
FC Randers. Chris, throw in a shout though.
Denmark. George Ilakobi played Premier League football.
Yes, what a legend. Present the trophy.
We're now going to goal scorer and captain Gary McCrudden with the Charli Mae trophy for the 3rd time Team Charli Mae have regained that trophy.
I think Dean's dad Jerry's just having a few words here with everybody. Great man football and Coot Hill as well.
Again, like I mentioned, this has all been organised by Dean Arrowsmith. Mark Arrowsmith played. Jerry Arrowsmith now in charge of proceedings at the moment, as he's thanking everybody for their efforts in today. Huge round of applause going to everybody involved.
Local Sinn Féin TD Rory O'Murray there as well. Great occasion for everybody.
And now Dean, who organised this event, having a few words as well. And welcome on Fia and Emily. And with that, proceedings coming to an end, we are going to end our live broadcast as well. So listen, thank you very much everyone for joining us here this afternoon as Team Charli Mae win the Team Charli Mae Shield for the 3rd year in a row. Please, if you can, like, share, post, repost, donate what you can to Féileacáin. And remember, look, thank you very much for